do, okay? But don't forget that you can watch me work examples if you're struggling with your homework. Granted, you could email me or meet with me, but a lot of you could go ahead and knock out your homework if you're like, oh yeah, she did 3 examples on the video. And you could fast forward, watch it over, and you could watch your teacher over and over again explain something. Instead of going, wait, do that again, you have that ability to, don't forget, it's not like you have to sit and watch an hour video. So please take advantage of it. Let me make sure it's recording. Okay. The hardest part about this and teaching it is once you set it up, or even how you choose to set it up, can be individual to you. And so if I'm setting it up like Ella does, and Sarah sets it up a different way, then when I start to work the problem the way I set it up for Ella, it might not be the way that Sarah worked it, but we should all get the same answer. So Daniela and I talked about that during lunch a bit, like where she was looking at slope-intercept form, and there's a few different ways to get to slope-intercept form. And you start where you feel comfortable, okay? There's sometimes that I'd say most teachers, and before you get to 11th grade, class 11, they go straight to y equals mx plus b form. That's probably what your middle school teachers did if you had lines. And I don't care if you do that, that's fine. I'm going to model a couple of things for you. I'll do examples of like, what if you did it this way? What if you did it that way? Okay? At some point, you're going to have to pick and choose what works for you and do that. All right? So you may not have any idea what I'm talking about. So let me go to Delta Math and let's pull up some problems. All right, and I think we have a test around the first week in February, I believe. 6th. Okay. I know, it's almost February.
For the people who have been here last year, when's Founders Day this year?
Okay, so let's import this. Okay, girls, don't talk about anything else at this point. Thank you for, I always love our starting class talking about things, but now I don't love it. So we got to get this done. And also I have to be careful that if there's a whole lot of people in the class that are getting this and knocking it out, we need to move on. And so if you feel like that you are still not understanding something, meet with me. I think most people that meet with me, and some do on a regular basis, they get their questions answered really quickly. I didn't get in until almost 8 this morning, and Susan had already come by, and she and Mr. Hill, he's used to answering her questions if I'm not there yet, and it's probably good for her to hear from another voice. I think most math teachers like Mr. Hill usually ask, like, you know, does Miss Larry do it this way, so he's not confusing you. So if I'm not there, do like Susan does and jump in and ask somebody a question. Daniela brought her lunch down today, you know, so they're taking care of business as they go, all right? Or certainly make an appointment with me so you know that I'm going to be sitting there. So anyway, write an equation of the line that passes through the points 5, -2, and -5, 0. This is what's happening. You don't have to draw a picture. No one asked you to draw a picture, but I always want to, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And this is what's happening. By the way, vocabulary, you have the x-intercept right here. It's called the x-intercept. So before I even start, I'm not saying you would draw a picture, but do you see that I should have a negative slope, and it should be a relatively small slope? Do y'all see this line's not very steep? Okay, so think about line rider, you know, kind of thing, okay? So here's what I'm going to erase that because I want 2 different methods. What I'm going to do is I'm going to probably pick one and just stick with it. But you can do either one of these two things. My guess is your middle school teacher did something similar to what Delta Math did, okay? Where, first of all, you're not going to be able to write the equation of a line if somebody doesn't give you the slope or you don't find the slope. By the way, let me hit the undo button. I really try to teach my classes with an understanding, not just a memorization. I just now thought of this, but this may help some of you. When you get all frazzled with the equations and you know you need the slope and you can't remember the slope formula, couldn't you graph it and count it? You could cut down and over and you would go, well, I know the slope. Pretty cool, huh? So don't forget you can do that. You can still pull it off without a formula, okay? The formula is also kind of counting down and over because you're doing rise over run. If you have your sheet out, or by then now you should have memorized it, but nobody just handed me the slope like in most of my Delta Math, okay? So I've got to find the slope. The slope formula, here's one way to do it, is y minus y equals over x minus x. It doesn't matter which point you want to use first, okay? So Maria, I'll let you pick. Do you want to go second minus first or first minus second?
Second minus first.
Okay, and it didn't matter what she said, but once Maria decides, we have to be consistent, okay? So Maria's going to subtract her y's, 0 minus negative 2. By the way, what Maria would be finding there is her rise. When you subtract your y's, you're finding your rise. When you subtract your x's, what are you finding? Your run. So this is y minus y, and I got to go back to what she chose, x minus x. So on the bottom of this, I've got negative 5 minus 5. All right, what's 0 minus negative 2? Positive 2 over negative 10. So as I predicted, y'all see I have a negative small slope. Remember that line wasn't going very fast, okay? All right, so my slope is negative 1/5. I'd have rather somebody gave it to me, but they didn't. Y'all always see how you can stop and find your slope. How many points do you need to find slope? 2. What if you're looking in pre-calculus or calculus at a lot of points? Jillian could pick any 2, Victoire could pick any 2, Grazia could pick any 2. You could pick different 2, but what would happen is you'd all get the same slope, okay? All right, so now what I think your middle school teachers did and what a lot of teachers do in Algebra 2 is they go straight to y equals mx plus b form. Now I know the slope. So I'm going to say y equals negative 1/5 x plus b. And now you have to have some way to find b. This will last you all through your high school career and college, if you're taking math in college. If you're going, oh, how am I going to find b? You can always fill in an x and a y, okay? I don't care which point you pick. All right, if Margot picked this point and Gabby picked that point, you're going to get the same final answer, okay? So Margot, pick a point. This one? All right, so Margot picked negative 5, 0. So I'll write it down here. Margot picked negative 5, 0. What's she going to put in for y? Which one is y? 0 equals negative 1/5. What's x? Negative 5 plus b. So we would have 0 equals, what happens to your 5s? They cancel. And what's a negative 1 times a negative 1? That would be 1 plus b. All right, now I've got to solve for b, so I'm going to subtract 1. I get negative 1 equals b. So I did all that work just to find b. So now my equation, I go back up here to do this. Y is equal to mx plus b. You could, of course, say negative 1/5 x minus 1, put that into Delta Math, and everything would be fine. Okay? Hang on just a second, Yana. That's one option. So that option is find the slope, go straight to y equals mx plus b. I don't do that. I used to do it when I taught Algebra 2 and I wasn't teaching pre-cal and calculus the first year of my career. Once I started teaching pre-cal and calculus, I quit using y equals mx plus b form so much because I think Daniela and I would agree that what we were doing was a little bit faster, okay? So we went to point slope form, okay? Which is, Yana, is that what you were going to ask? We still both sat down and had to find the slope. So I found the slope was negative 1/5. I'm going to go to y minus y equals m times x minus x form, point slope form. Does it matter which point I use? Doesn't matter. All right, so I'll go back and use the point Margot picked, negative 5, 0. So I'm going to say y minus y equals m times x minus negative 5. What would that be? Plus 5. And what Daniela and I found is I could actually just fill that into Delta Math right away and it would accept it. So she was done, okay? We know on the test though that you will have questions like, now give me slope-intercept form from point slope form like your quiz. All right, so right now I could type that in and get my Delta Math right. So I had y minus 0, which there's no reason to type in 0, but I'll do it just for now because it could have been a different number. You don't have to fill in 0. Equals negative 1/5 and parentheses x plus 5 I think is what I had. So you just find the slope and fill in whichever point you want and it should take it. Okay? So if no one says what form they want it in, pick and choose. Okay? For argument's sake, let's pause for a minute and get this in slope-intercept form. Right now it's in point slope form. All right, slope-intercept form, I have y minus 0, which right now is just y. Distribute, that gives me negative 1/5 x. And what's negative 1/5 times 5? What's going to happen to your 5s? So you just have a minus 1. Do y'all see what I mean? Okay, and if you don't, you need to meet with me because I need to keep moving. Do you see it's the same answer that we got over here? Look how much longer that one is on the right. Okay? So I'm going to pick another one. Because I have the ability just to scroll through problems. Okay. If you had a question, you're afraid you're going to forget it as I plow ahead, please write it down or write yourself a little note to remember what it was in case I don't answer it. Just naturally. A lot of times I'll answer it anyway. Okay. So we all have to find the slope. I don't care what method we use. Okay? My method I'm going to write just right up here because I don't need much room if I use that method. My slope is, all right, I'm going to say y minus y. So I'm going from here minus that one. So I have negative 1 minus 1. And then I have 3 minus negative 3. That gives me negative 2 over 6, which gives me negative 1/3. So I'm going to go to y minus y equals m times x minus x. Does it matter which point I use? Rebecca, pick one. Okay. Didn't matter what she picked. So Rebecca and I would have y minus 1. We all have the same slope. And then she gets x minus negative 3, which it sounds like to me y'all are good at knowing that's x plus 3.
Yes.
So, and if nobody told me what form, I'm done. I am through. I can type that into Delta Math in this section, and it would take it, and I'm done. Okay? The other option is you could have gone straight to y equals mx plus b form. So I could have said y equals mx plus b, and how am I going to find b? I'm going to fill in a number for x and y. Does it matter which point I use? Let's use Rebecca's. Okay, so I'm going to fill in y as 1 equals negative 1/3, x is negative 3 plus b. This is negative 3 over 1, right? So I have 1 is equal to, these cancel, and what's a negative times a negative? So I get 1 plus b. Oh, look what b is. Subtract 1. That's weird. What is b? 0. So our equation would be negative 1/3 x. So you could type this in, or you could type this in. And Delta Math would accept either one. You could put it in Desmos. They'd lay right on top of each other. If I did like on the quiz, like you'll have to do on a test, if I say change it from point slope to slope intercept, if you distribute, you'll end up with that. Okay, so let's just pause and say that I'm going to go to point slope form almost all the time, so you're not watching me do two things, because that can be confusing. So what I'm going to do when I have 2 points is I'll find the slope. We'll all have to. Then I'm going to use a point for y minus y equals m times x minus x, because that's so fast. And once I get here, if I'm on a multiple choice test or and all the multiple choice are y equals mx plus b, do you see how I can quickly change it by distribution? But you do whatever suits you, or whatever you're doing with someone else. Or if another teacher told you something and you get it, I don't care. I just want you to get it right. Okay? All right, I want to see if something else is going to happen here, because I would certainly do it to you on a test, but I don't know if it happened in your Delta Math.
This is Eric. Can I go to the bathroom?
Yes. Are there any questions while I'm looking for something? It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Oh, I'm sorry. I see the words diagonal only. Okay? So everybody look at this. I might give this for homework, but I might not. It's kind of... Any questions before I go on? Okay.
You said that it could get like harder and more complicated. What does that mean?
Oh, that was when I was solving equations, which I'm not doing right now. But right now, we're just revisiting solving linear equations. But eventually, you'll have to solve quadratic equations, logarithmic equations, trigonometric. So we better get linear before we go to quadratic, okay? Which is going to be a while. But I don't want to leave any. I mean, we all ought to be good at linear.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought linear got harder than this. I was gonna be confused.
No, this is it. Okay. All right. That one's the same as what I've been doing. Okay, girls?
Yes.
Hang on, Yana. Write your question down. I'm looking for something special to happen here. Ooh, I haven't been looking very good. It may have already happened. Okay, it just happened. This is really, really big. I wish Bailey wasn't gone. So I hope I'll remember to tell her at some point. Maybe when she comes back, I'll say it real quickly. This would trip you up if your teacher didn't say this to you. Not all of you, but some of you. Like if it was me, it would trip me up. Okay. So you're good now. So you're like Danielle and I are rocking along, getting our problems right a lot faster than the other way. And so we're ready to go. So we'll write the equation. So I'm going to say y minus y, negative 5 minus negative 8 over x minus x. So I get 3 over, 3 over 0. So what's your slope?
0.
Undefined.
No slope.
Thank you. No slope, undefined. There is no slope. Show me what kind of line has no slope you have no hope. Okay? Very good. Very good. All right, so y'all are all doing it, okay? Very, very good. All right, do you see why this has no slope? Remember how I said 0 can't hold anything up? It's going to come crashing down. So, oh my gosh, I have no slope. So how am I going to go y equals mx plus b? How am I going to, do y'all see my dilemma?
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you see, Sarah?
I feel like this last time you just take the the y point and just
Careful. This way.
the x.
And what do you
Oh, the
notice
x.
both of your x's are?
Negative.
Usually, no, not better than that. They're both -3.
That's what I said.
Oh, I'm sorry. They said they're both negative. Sorry, I didn't hear the 3. I thought you said they're both negative.
no.
Hey, girls, I don't have to work this problem.
You have to do that.
I don't have to work that
You
problem.
just write
Did y'all see how I was just scrolling through until I saw that happen? I know right away that line is x equals -3 because both of the x's are -3. Look at the picture of it. This would be -3. Oh, good. Watch real quickly, Bailey. -3, -5, -3, -8. Susan, what you were doing in the air, it does this, doesn't it? Okay? So watch for that to happen. If you notice both your x's are the same, quit the problem and say x equals whatever the x's are. What are you going to do if the y's are the same? Hadn't happened to us yet today. You'll say y equals. It's a horizontal line because if you go out like 4 and go up 8, and you go back 2 and go up 8, do you see it has 0 slope? Okay. Daniela?
But couldn't you just say x equals 3?
Oh, well, in this one I would have to say -3. X is -3 in this
But then what
problem.
happens to the slope you talk about?
It has no slope. That's what this is, no slope. Like you wouldn't even be able to write the equation with the formulas I've given you. When you go horizontal and vertical, it's not a diagonal line. You don't have a y equals mx plus b.
But then what happens if their x's aren't the same?
You do it the way we did it during lunch, or the way I did the first few problems.
Oh.
Do you see what happened? Like I just went blindly into it. I didn't really. I knew what was going to happen. But suppose you start working and you don't notice that. Danielle, if you run into 0 in the bottom, it's game over. You got to pause and go, wait a minute. Oh, my x's are the same.
What if you get 0 and your x's aren't the same?
What if what?
But what if you get 0 and your x's aren't the same?
There's no way that would happen, is there?
Oh, so every time your x's are the same, it's because
They're going to cancel each other out.
automatically write x
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
And if your y's are the same, where's the 0 going to be?
Whatever.
If the y's are the same, where's the 0 going to occur? On top, which is 0 slope, which is horizontal. Okay? You can have 0 on the top, you just can't have it on the bottom. So watch me do this. I'm going to find a problem that I don't even have to work. Oh, I didn't know that would happen. That one. X is equal to -7. Done. Okay? If you don't notice it at first, something weird will happen with your slope. If you just didn't notice it, you'll get 0 on the bottom, which is no slope undefined, or 0 on the top, which is 0 slope, which is no fun. 0 slope, 0 fun. Okay? Line writer's not going to die, though. Like here. Sorry, that's so dramatic. That's x equals -7. Oh, darn. I'll have to find it. Oh, no, that's not one. What's this one?
It's the y.
Y equals -1, Margo. This one would be y equals -1. She and I would have gotten 0 slope, but it's y equals -1. Okay? Yana?
So for the x's, like if you have the same x's, so that's still a line though, right? Like, even
This
though
way.
there
A vertical
isn't
line.
slopes, so then to define a line, you need a
2 points.
2 points.
2
not-
points to
not-
find
not
any
like
line.
A point in the slope. right?
No, if you have a point in the slope, you have the line. If you have 2
that's-
points, you have the line. Okay? I cannot have any idea what the line is without that information. If you just give me 1 point, it could just go through it any way it wants to. If you give me a point in the slope, done. Or if you give me a point and a point, done. Great question, Margo. Hurry, because I'm starting something new. Okay. Now, let's do one more thing. If you had trouble with some other things, please meet with me soon. Don't let it build up. I'm going to go to this one. Whoa, what just happened? All right, so my job is to find Z. I don't know what in the world I'm pushing. Try and take a screenshot of acting funny.
So what's it?
Okay, so I'm trying to find Z. Like a second ago, I was trying to find the remote. Okay? Girls, unfortunately, we have two choices here. That 4 is on the way outside. You could either divide by it right now or you could distribute it. I think most of you would distribute it, so I'm going to distribute it. So this is going to give me 8Z minus 20 equals negative 4. You do not have to show all your work if you can do some in your head, but be sure that you can do some in your head. In the meantime, for the class, I'm going to be showing all my work. I'm trying to get to Z. Eventually, I'm going to need to divide by 8. But can I get to the 8 yet?
No.
What's on the very outside?
The oh no, the
Minus 20. I got to move it out of the way with a plus 20. Very good. All right, so that gives me 8Z equals 16. Now I'm almost to Z. What's stuck to Z like that orange paper? An 8? Is that 8 plus Z or 8 times Z? How do you get rid of times? Divide. So Z is 2. Okay? So hopefully you can do those okay. All right. Now, next, this is what we're doing today. So here's a line.
Unnecessary.
Uh-huh.
Can we do an example like what we just did, but like with fractions?
Not right now, just because I need to move on.
That's fine.
Okay? Remind me, Victoire, and I'll start the next class with some. Yeah, because thank you for asking. I want to avoid fractions.
Yeah.
That's why your lower and upper middle school teachers taught you fractions. Do y'all see 2 lines other than the bad job I did on the corner there with the little curvy thing, okay? But do y'all see 2 lines?
Yes.
Do they have the same slope?
No.
Does one of them have negative slope?
Yes.
Okay. Will they ever meet?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
And only once, right?
Yes.
What's the only way they'll never meet?
If they
keep on going.
If they're parallel and they just keep on going at the same rate. If they have the same slope.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't
Okay?
understand.
If they have the same slope, they won't meet. All right, I think y'all knew if I extend my page, y'all would eventually see something like that happen, right?
Yes.
If you have different slopes, one day you'll meet. It may be a long time, but you'll cross each other, okay? And only one time. I want to know what that is. That's called the solution to the system of equations. Do y'all see I have 2 different lines? That's called a system, okay? And I want to know that point, okay? So the hardest way to do it, actually I was going to teach today and I forgot. I must not have looked at my syllabus before I started because I usually teach graphing first. But I already have the sheets for elimination, so I'll teach elimination first. Let me show you why graphing's not very good, but I'll have to make you learn it, okay? So I'm just a little window into what you're not going to have yet, but you'll have it soon and probably maybe on Delta Math. If I have y equals 6x minus 2 and y equals 1/3 x plus 4, those will definitely cross somewhere because they have different slopes, okay? So one method is by graphing. I'm going to move the pretty holder family for a minute. Okay. So I'm going to graph this one. My y-intercept is -2, and I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1. And draw this line. Okay? In fact, girls, when you do this, you're going to want a straight edge. Okay? And now the other line, my y-intercept is 4, and I'm going to go up 1 and over 3. Up 1 and over 3. And then I'm going to, one day when I'm actually doing this on paper, you would get out a straight edge so you could be really precise. Okay. So do y'all see where they intersect right here? Sometimes it's hard to tell what that point is if you're on graph paper or if you're graphing on your sheet of paper. I think I just made this up off the top of my head. Where does it look like they're intersecting?
-1.
Well, it looks like it's kind of out 1, up 4, but maybe 5? Because I know this is 4 right here, right? So Margot kind of guessed 1, 5. All right, how can we check it? If I fill it into this one, what happens if I fill in X? If it works, I should get 5.
Yes.
If I fill in 1, what's 6 times 1?
6.
Minus 2?
4.
4. I didn't get 5. And if I fill in 1 right here, I won't get 5. So that's not right. So I'd have to keep guessing or go back and graph it a lot better. Do you see how graphing, we're going to have to do it, and I'll show you a little bit. I'll give you a lot better ways to get it right. But y'all see, girls, that could be a fraction. Couldn't it be like out 3/4 and up a little bit more than 4?
Yeah.
I mean, there's all sorts of things it could be. All right? So we'll do graphing another day. I meant to do it today. Guess I had forgotten my own plans. All right, there's a date at the top of this. So today we're going to do elimination. One day we'll do some of these same problems by graphing. Okay? It's exactly like it says, elimination. Okay, we're going to eliminate something. And we're going to find out where these cross. Okay, but don't do anything until I tell you to. You may have done this before, and I'll pretend like you haven't. Okay? You know what? I don't know. I think I assumed too often that you were like me in the 9th grade.
I probably am.
And a lot of people are. I thought I was taking Algebra 2. And then, well, actually I took Algebra 1 in the 9th grade, but whatever. Okay? Listen, girls. I thought when I took Algebra 2, that I took Algebra 2, passed it, gone, goodbye, like World Civ.
Yes.
And then I would take geometry, gone, goodbye, like chemistry, okay? I probably didn't make a good analogy there. But girls, what happens when I get to pre-cal? Guess what I need to be really good at? Algebra, okay? And calculus. I got to be really good at the stuff I took before. So it's like if I'm taking French 1 and next year I'm going to sign up for French 2. I can't go, I take French 1, I passed it, gone, let me move on. When am I going to have to know when I'm in French 2? So I'm just saying this isn't going away, all right? Okay, everybody look at number 1. Okay, girls, quiet, 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 like super duper quiet, okay? You may not even know if these are going to cross or not. You may not be able to have the wherewithal yet to know they're even going to have different slopes. But don't worry about it. If they don't cross, you'll find out in your work if you don't notice it ahead of time. Okay? I'll show you. This is a horrible way to do it. But suppose you're on a test and she wants the point where they cross. She didn't tell me how to work it, so I'm just going to start guess and check. Okay? Like for instance, is it 6 plus 1 equals 7? Well, that can't be true because 6 minus 1 doesn't equal 1. I bet you can think of the numbers.
What'd you say? 4 and she's like 3.
4 and 3. All right, so 4 plus 3 is 7, and 4 minus 3 is 1. So Sarah's through with the problem. However, I know Sarah well now. She's not going to just tune me out because she knows something else is coming. You know, it's going to get 3x plus 4y equals, you're not going to be able to, like, think it up in a minute. All right? We already know the answer is 4, 3. How would we arrive at it? All right, what we're going to do is it's something called elimination. I'm going to add equations. That's called a system of equations, okay? I'm going to add those. So it's kind of weird. It's like I'm going 147 plus 213, and I'm going to add these columns. That's what I'm doing, all right? You can take notes. You've got a packet with the date on it. It's a miracle I put the date on it, okay? You really don't want to add them until you see something's going to cancel out, but I'll teach you that as we go the next few minutes. How many x's do I have as I add these? 2x. What happens to my y's? They cancel out. Equals 7 plus 1 is 8. And now you want to find x. That's why I had you do the other homework. What are you going to do to find x?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. Great, Daniela. Divide by 2. And so now Daniela knows her x is 4. I'm going to pause for a minute while you take notes. So you found x is 4, which Sarah already knew, okay? Now you need to find y. And so what you can do is put it in either equation. I'm going back to one of my two equations. X minus y equals 7. What do we know that x is? 4. 4 plus y equals 7. Can you find y?
Yeah.
It's added, so what do?
Subtract.
Subtract 4. Minus 4.
You get 3.
So you get y is 3, and then you write your point for me in what order?
X 4 3.
4, 3. Sarah was right. Okay? All right, question. Susan, I saw your hand first.
Why is it 8 over 2 in the first section?
All right, right here,
Yeah.
when we added our x and our, we had 2x, these canceled out, and we had 8. And now we want to find x.
Why does y cancel out?
Why not?
What's y minus y?
Oh, no.
If you're holding a y in your hand and I come take it away from you, how many y's will you have? Y minus y.
And wouldn't it be 2y? Because it's like the same as x.
If you add them, yes, not if you subtract them.
Think about it.
Hey girls, look. Thank you for helping each other, but look up here in interest of time. If I have 3 plus 3, hey girls, I know I make it simple sometimes and it seems kind of silly, but I had to go home and think about this stuff. My teacher moved so fast and I'm like, I don't understand why those y's are canceling out. Okay, so to be transparent, I got all kind of crazy ways to figure this out, but at least I finally understood it, obviously, because I majored in math, okay? If I have 3 pencils, and you add 3 pencils to me, and I realize I'm doing the little worksheets that I did in first grade where I counted 3 pencils plus 3 pencils, but I didn't get what I was doing in first grade. I mean, I could do it. I probably made an A, but because I'm so disciplined, but I don't think it really ding, ding, ding. Okay, Susan, look. If I have 3 plus 3, how many do I have? 6, all right? But what is 3 minus 3? What does that mean? I'm like, yeah, I got 3 colored pencils, but what's Grazia then gonna do? She's gonna take away my 3 pencils. And how many pencils will I have? 0. Sorry, Grazia. I feel like I could pick on you. Is that okay? So Grazia took away my pencils. How many pencils do I have?
0.
Okay. So what happened, Susan? What was x plus x? I had an x. You gave me an x. So how many do I have now?
2y.
2 x's. What does this mean? I had a y. Oh, but you took my y.
Oh, but I still don't understand because there's still x, like there's still the same subtraction symbol for both of them, but for some reason you're taking away y.
I had x plus y equals 7. I'm going to take this equation and add it to this equation. X minus y equals 1. All right, so Susan, everybody else, I'm adding, okay? Do you see that plus sign? That means I'm adding all the columns. All right, and x plus a x is a 2x. So what's a y plus a negative y? So I say y plus negative y. If I have a y and then I have a negative y, that means I have 0. It just cancels out. And then I'm adding 7 and 1, and I get 8. I don't really know what else to say. And the x is 4, and then you can find y. All right, Bailey?
Can you go back to the slide before?
Yeah.
So for the one on the bottom left, I don't understand where you got that equation from.
Okay, good question. So here, blah, blah, blah. All right, so Bailey, you're doing your homework, and you followed me to this point, I think.
Yes.
Okay, so you got to find x and y, okay? So you're like, okay, good, I found x. Now how can I find y? Remember, it's got to fit in both equations. So you pick. Now you know x, so you can put it back in this one or this one, I don't care. So I think somebody picked one, or I did. I picked the top one. So x plus y equals 7. Oh, but wait, I know what x is. What is x? 4. So what does y have to be?
7 minus 4.
Which is
3.
3. So I subtracted 4 like you did in your head, and y is 3. Let me show you something really cool though. Sometimes you don't have to do as much algebra as you think. You know 4 plus 3 is 7. You know y is 3. If you get to a point in my class like this, I think Margot or somebody noticed that I had to be 4 anyway. I don't have to divide by 2. I'm not pushing that on you, but if you already know the answer. I'm sorry, Bailey, I started making another point though. Do you see? Once you find one of the letters, fill it in either equation to find the other letter, because it's got to work in both. All right, I need to take questions really quick because it's going to be a whole lot better if I do more examples. I'm probably going to answer your questions. That's why I say no questions sometimes. But do you want to ask anyway, Grazia?
I know, I think I'll get it from the exam.
Okay. Yana, hurry, hurry, hurry. Sorry, hurry.
Yeah, no, let me just go back to say that I haven't learned this method, but as like the combination method instead of elimination. Would you say
Well, the rest of the world calls it elimination, so I'm not sure about your teacher. I'm real familiar with different things.
But it's just like combining still, right? It's like x plus x.
Well, you can combine them without eliminating. So that's why it's called elimination. I could, watch this, girls. Look at the next one, but don't write anything down. Okay, don't write anything down. Look up here. Computer should not be open anyway. Don't write this down because I'm going to mess this up on purpose. I'm going to combine these. Let's add these, okay? How many x's? 7. How many y's? 2. And 34. I didn't get anywhere with that. That's why I said don't write it down. I just combined them. I didn't get anywhere. I didn't eliminate anything. That's why it's called elimination. Somebody may have taught you to combine things, and that's fine, but I didn't get anywhere there. So your job is to decide what you want to eliminate and what you can eliminate the easiest. Okay, girls?
Yes.
Now, just use common sense. I think sometimes my teacher was just rattling off rules, and I'm like, okay, I get real confused, okay? I want everybody, and by the way, don't say anything until I ask for a volunteer. Do you think it's going to be easier for me to eliminate from this equation my x's or to eliminate my y's? Don't say anything. Just look at it and decide. It's going to be easier to get rid of. I've got to do something to get rid of these, okay? Make your decision. Raise your hand if you'd like to volunteer a suppose question.
No, I mean,
Which one do you think, x's or the y's?
when I eliminate the y,
I eliminate the y's, wouldn't you? They're a little bitty, okay? And one thing that math teachers say, they have the same coefficient, so Susan and I are going to be able to get rid of it a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is before I combine them, is I'm going to multiply this by -1. That'll give me -2x, -y, and -11. Do y'all see how I multiplied everything by -1? So I wanted -2x, -y, and -11. You'll draw me these little arrows. I'm going to copy this. 5x plus y equals 23. So what Susan saw and a bunch of you saw is like, if I could just make that one of those y's negative, they'd cross out. Now what's 5x plus a -2x? If I have 5 and you take 2 away, how many do I have? 3. Oh, good. What happens with my y's? They cancel out. And 23 minus 11 is 12. So what is x?
4.
Some of you can do it in your head. If you can't, divide by 3. And Bailey, this is where we were. Oh, by the way, girls, x won't always be 4. I think coincidentally I got 4 both times. Now I need to find y. You can go back and fill it in anywhere you want to. I'm going to fill it in this one.
It's the same.
So I'm going to say 5x plus y equals 23.
20,
What am I going to put in for x?
4.
4. So I have 20 plus y equals 23. Yeah, but some of you can do it in your head. What does y have to be?
3.
I can't believe we got 4, 3 again. That's pure coincidence. Please don't write down 4, 3 for every problem, okay? So subtract 20, and you get y is 3, so you go x, y. Moving on. All right? 2x plus 3y equals 3. 5x plus 3y equals 12. Don't say anything. Hopefully the answer won't be 4, 3, okay? Make your decision of what's easiest to get rid of and don't say it out loud. Raise your hand if you think you know what's easiest to get rid of. Maria?
3y.
The y's, because you see the same coefficient. By the way, we won't always have that luxury, but we want to use it when we can. Will they cancel out if I combine them? If I add them, are they going to cancel out?
Nope.
So I'm going to multiply the bottom one by -1 so that I make the sign negative. Will that make them all negative or change all the signs? -5x minus 3y equals -12. I'm just going to copy this one down. And you're doing all of this writing so I can follow your work in case you make a mistake. Okay? What's 2x plus -5x?
Wait, what?
3.
Isn't it going to be -3x?
-3x, yeah.
Remember, you're adding these two things.
Yes.
So that gives you -3x. Daniela, do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, that happened to me at the Christmas fair. I saw a nutcracker I really, really wanted. It's a really cute elf nutcracker, like Elf the movie, and I'm so happy to have it. But I was standing next to Miss Laws, the librarian, and I'm like, I want that nutcracker. And yeah, probably. But say if I had $2 and it was $5.
You would be.
So she'd go, well, just give me your $2. I'll pay him $5 for the nutcracker, but how much do I still owe Miss Laws? $3. I'm out $3. I better make good on it, okay? Margot, question?
Can you do it the opposite way? Like 5x minus 2x?
What now?
Like, can you
No, just, I'd say you're going to be most successful just to keep on going.
Okay.
You can, and you can experiment with it, and if everything's going okay for you, yes, you can. Okay? I just think if I start doing all sorts of different things, I'm going to lose people. Margot, you give it a try, okay? I think that's probably a good idea now that I think about it. These cancel, and I get -9. Divide by -3. So in this case, x is what? Negative over negative, positive. How are you going to find y?
You plug it in.
Plug it into one of these and solve for y. Okay? All right. On your homework, well, I don't think I've posted it yet, but I'll double check it. This is real important. As you're packing up and leaving, I want you to be on top of your next class. look at your packet. And these are all examples I'm going to continue to do in class. Do you see the second page says homework?
Yeah.
I'll tell you which ones to do. Maybe all of it. I'll check and see. Okay?
This is Erin.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Let me stop the recording.